What is up, gamers? Today I have a little bit of a different video. I wanted to talk about the new Nintendo Switch that's coming out soon and my opinions on it because I've been hearing so many opinions. It's my turn now. So let's just get right into it. Please make sure to subscribe. This is going to be a little different of a video, but again, this channel is more of just doing things that are fun. So if you like this content, feel free to let me know through subscribing, liking, all those things. But yes, let's get right into it. Switch 2 prices. Do they really suck that much? I think the grand consensus is there's nothing redeemable about the Switch's price, or very little. Well, I guess you could say it's pretty bipolar, where you have people defending the prices and people rejecting all the prices. I'm here to give my opinions and state them as fact. So, key points of the video that I'll be going over, just so you don't click off, so you know exactly what I'm going to do. First part, Switch itself. Is it fair, expensive? The games, is $80 really okay? And the accessories, are they worth it? So, let's get right into it. The Switch itself. So, the price, everybody kind of knows the price. It's $450 for the normal Switch and $500 if you get it bundled with Mario Kart World, which is obviously the better deal. It's the one that they have more available and the one that sold out first. Well, I think a good way to determine how good these prices are is to see how well they stack up against their competitors. So, if we look here, this is the PS5 Slim Disc Edition. So, the special features of this PlayStation 5 is not only is it a PlayStation 5, it's skinnier, and you can buy physical games. Yeah, that's it. And but this sets you back about $500. Now, they do have a PS Pro, and I guess that adds another feature to this PlayStation 5 is that it doesn't cost $200 more, unlike the PlayStation Pro. So there's the pricing for that. And then we compare that to the Xboxes that are out, the Series X, which is also $500, and the Series S, which is $300. And comparing all those to the Switch prices, we get this. The Switch is both more and less expensive than the Xbox, and I would say it's somewhat less expensive than the PlayStation. The PlayStation 5 without the disc drive is an equal price, but all Switches come with a game card reader for physical games, so I just didn't put that in for comparison. But as we see, it's competitive. And if we compare how strong the Switch 2 is in terms of processing power, it's obviously the weakest, but according to rumors and several news sites that claim that these rumors are legit, the Nintendo Switch 2 is equal to the power of the PS4 Pro, kinda, only when it's docked. So, that console's come out a very long time ago, but it's better than what we got now, so cool. So is it worth it? I would say mostly. I would say it's mostly worth it. It's pretty competitive, and in terms of consoles, it's not $700, so there's obviously has that going for it. If I were to give this price a grade, I'd give it a B-. It's a pretty solid grade. It's not the best, but it's not the worst either. So hey, good job, Nintendo. You made this console pretty fairly priced, and I would say, well, I'm also glad that they didn't increase the price when they decided to push back the pre-order date. Next, the games. The games, they are, well, let's start with the reasons people try to justify the price, because I've been hearing a lot of that. And to be honest, it's kind of bugging me. But here's the reasons. They don't accept any evidence to the contrary, but this is the evidence they'll give you. So as we see here, this is a page out of a catalog from, I think, Toys R Us. May it rest in peace. And what we see here is that the games are kind of the same price as they are now, right? But the dollar wasn't always worth the same amount. The dollar was worth more in 1993 than it is now. If we plug that into an inflation calculator, it was the first result on Google. It had a .gov, so I trust it. A $60 game would have the same, well, $60 would have the same buying power as $133 now, which is over 2 times more. And if we look at this graph I also scalped off the internet, it shows that adjusted for inflation, game prices have actually been going down, right? And also some people will blame this guy. Yeah. So these are often the reasons that get brought up when people talk about these prices. Now, I do recognize that those are valid points, but look at this. $80 is still expensive. I mean, newsflash, $80 is a lot of money. And if we look at these 3 graphs I found, these are 3 graphs that talk about wage stagnation. I think it's something that should be brought up a little more because, sure, you could be saying that, inflation makes it so actually games cost less. And so, it's not that they're expensive. They're actually relatively cheap if you compare them to those prices. But one thing they don't talk about is how inflation has been increasing way faster than wages have been increasing. Wage stagnation basically just means that wages aren't growing that much. I think the simplest graph to read is the one on the far left, where it shows since 1980 how much has the wage really grown. And I think that's based off of, I think that's adjusted for inflation as well, though it could be wrong. As you see, inflation has definitely not increased negative 5 to 6% since the 80s, whereas inflation has basically over doubled things, meaning that we have less disposable income. I mean, you see that a lot. A lot of people have to work 2 jobs. People just can't really afford things as they used to. That's why a lot of people just go into straight up debt. Whereas, in the earlier days of America, debt was just not a thing. You could get everything. And so people are broke, myself included. People don't want to pay $80 for one game, especially when, you go back a few years and $80 could go a lot further in terms of gaming. It hurts. It hurts a lot. Additionally, this is more of an emotional appeal. You are not Nintendo. You're not their lawyers, and you're not their PR team. So what does it matter to you to defend Nintendo on these prices? You should complain about them too. Because if you think about it, if we all complain about it, then they'll drop the prices. Then everyone wins except for Nintendo, who already has enough money to burn anyways. So I also don't understand why people would give free PR to a corporation. It never made sense to me. They're not on your side, so why are you on their side? And I love Nintendo's games. I love their products. They're some of my favorite games I've ever played are Nintendo games. Them as a company have fallen off hard recently. And I honestly hate the company, love the product. It's a sad truth. So, the games, are they worth it? No. If I were to give a grade to these game prices, I'd give them a D-, not an F. And that's just because the inflation argument you can't just brush away. But D- will not give you credit. That is not a passing score, not even close. $80 is just unacceptable for a game, especially when only a few years ago they increased it to $70. If you want to bring up tariffs, you could do that. I don't know why you would. Tariffs shouldn't increase the price of a digital download, and tariffs shouldn't increase the price of a piece of plastic that's just a digital download. Yeah, a lot of emotions with this. You have Nintendo fans who are angry in two aspects, either angry that people are angry or angry that these prices are so high. Maybe it causes you some depression because you realize you're just too broke to be a gamer. I know I'm feeling it. And so that's kind of my thoughts on the games. How about the accessories? This was Target had the best listing of accessories for me to take a screenshot here, but as you see, it's a little small, but as you can see, the Joy-Cons are $95, which I'll get into that. And the Pro Controller is $85. The camera on a stick is $55. The little plastic pieces you put on the end of a Joy-Con is $14. Plastic steering wheels are $25. A USB-C charger with the adapter is $35. Now that's a price that will make Apple blush right there. $40 for the mini carrying case with a screen protector. $40 for charging grip, which, to be honest, the idea of a charging grip is cool. I don't know why Nintendo didn't officially make those for the first Switch. $60 for an SD card with a PNG of Mario on it, so that's pretty cool. And you can even buy half a Joy-Con, or I guess just one Joy-Con separately for $55 each. Now I'm no economist, but 55 times 2 is not 95. So if you want to buy the Joy-Cons in a more inefficient and expensive way, you can buy them individually. And also their super deluxe carrying case that is just a $85 box. As you can see by how I've been describing these prices, you can tell I have some feelings about these. So I think the easiest thing to compare, and really the only thing you can compare easily, is the controllers. So here are just a screenshot I got from PlayStation's website of some DualSense wireless controllers. And here's a screenshot I took from the Xbox Design Lab. Now, if you look on PlayStation, their controllers cost $80, $85. It's pricey, right? You don't want to be smashing those. Those are not cheap. But this, on the bottom, is a standard Xbox controller with add-ons, rubberized grips on the back and the forgetting what I call them, just like the handles, and custom engraving. And that, if you look at the subtotal there, $91 for a rubberized, personalized Xbox controller from Microsoft. Now, if we were to compare this against the Switch, we see a custom Xbox controller, and all the PlayStation controllers I could find that weren't, obviously the Pro models, cost less than Joy-Cons, which people say will probably not drift. I'm a little afraid that they will. But as we see, the Pro controller, which is really just the standard controller, that's about equal to PlayStation's prices, but obviously Xbox has cheaper controllers overall, which is kind of nice. That's what I have, is an Xbox controller for my PC, because why would I spend $85 when I can spend way less? So we see Nintendo's kind of losing out on the controller pricing here, and you could blame it on him for that. Yeah, you could do that. I don't have an opinion on tariffs because I don't want to care. I don't like politics, but he can be a reason. So, the accessories, are they worth it? I mean, depends. It kind of adds up if you want to play any game with more than one other person. So in terms of a grade, I'd give this a D plus. They're not cheap. They're not even on the average side of pricing. They're on the high end, and all those things add up over time. Do you need to buy all those accessories? No, but uh, I would probably buy. I almost never buy third party because I usually just don't trust a lot of third party peripherals. But starting with this Switch, I might be exclusively buying third party peripherals if it could save me, gosh, even 20, even $10. It might convince me to just buy a third party. So, I mean, if you want it, it's fine. If you're rich, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that. So, the $1,000,000 question, because I did mention this. I pre-ordered. I fought the Target website. I fought 4 different websites, but I won on Target. I fought for 2 hours to pre-order the Switch, and I got the bundle too. I got Mario Kart World with it because I'm not paying $80 for that. I'd way rather pay $50. So why did I pre-order? Well, the main reason is this. It's well, without revealing too much about myself, I am a part of a family. No way, and we have a family Switch. This is a artist rendition of what that could look like. And that's really all we have in terms of the Switch. Just one that everyone shares. It's nobody's, it's the family's. But if you've deduced it from some of my videos, I am in college, which means I'm not living with my family. But I have Switch games I bought. So I pre-ordered the new Switch because mainly I wanted a Switch that would last 6 years if the Switch bombed, the Switch 2 bombed, and 8 years if it did well. That's kind of how long Nintendo consoles tend to last. And there's also some games I anticipate on there. So in the long run, I'm hoping that the $500 will be worth it. And that's really about it. I bought it so I can continue to be a gamer even when I'm away from home. So yeah. And I think that's kind of true for everyone. Some people, it's just simply not worth it. Other people it is, and I think it does depend on circumstance. It's right there on the edge, where for some it's completely unaffordable. For others, it's okay. So that's kind of my thoughts about the Switch pricing. So if you like what you saw, please like. If you disagree with everything I said, please like and leave me a comment saying, even though I disagree, I think you're really cool and I'm about to subscribe. And if you watch this video, please subscribe. I mean, I'm just happy for anyone who's watched this. Hopefully this was engaging. Hopefully this was fun. I wanted to do something different than just gameplay. I felt it would be a little more fun to do something like this. And additionally, I don't have my headset right now. That's why my mic sounds different. So I couldn't record gameplay anyway without it echoing through the mic. So yeah, I'm in between dorms. So see ya.